Ever since the dawn of time, humanity has sought to create good content, and the majority of them have failed. I mean, look at this, it's awful. It looks like a toddler drew it. But now here we are in the age of the internet, and that gives me the ability to tear apart people's content that I'm sure they've worked very hard on for a very long time of their lives, going to school, learning how to do it really well, and, you know, I kind of feel a little bad now. Hey, I don't want to roast some hardworking animator today. Well, what movie did you want me to look at? What's this? The Snurks? I don't feel so bad anymore. The Snurks, sometimes called Back to Gaia or Boo, Zino, and the Snurks, is a 2004 German-Spanish animated movie written by some of the same people who wrote Hercules and A Bug's Life, and featuring the voice work of the legendary Sir Patrick Stewart and Emily Watson, who, I don't know who that is, but apparently she's been in a lot of things. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Seems like it's gonna be a good movie, so let's take a look at it.
Sorry, boys. Where the heck are we?
Snurks!
Huh?
Hey guys, maybe we're famous around here. Wow, fame at last.
Snurks are bad!
This don't look good.
We may be in for a rough ride today. But this is a 2004 animated movie. They usually don't look so well, so maybe the writing's really good. Let's watch it. Spoilers. It's not very good. It's actually really bad. Also, I don't know how to segue into this, but apparently there's a cult in Idaho worshipping this movie. The Wikipedia was the only thing I could find mentioning this, but I felt I should mention that. Anyways, let's put the disc in and let's start this. So for some reason, VLC calls the disc Snurks Kaboom. I have no idea why. And it has McDonald's fitness videos on it. I have no idea why these are on the disc. And I don't know why, but Ronald McDonald telling me to work out seems a little weird. I don't know why. But let's finally start the movie. So this movie is made by First Look Entertainment. More like Last Look, because I don't want to make this video anymore. Our movie opens on a kid's bedroom with narration from our boy, Sir Patrick Stewart. Captain, what have you gotten yourself into? Professor X talks about a TV show called Gaia, and it stars the main characters of this movie. So after a zoom over some mountains like a really cheap Lord of the Rings ripoff, we meet our first main character, Boo, who is looking for his little crossbow slingshot thing. After he finds it, Zino, one of our other main characters, comes in to get ready for the upcoming race. Also, the little crossbow slingshot thingy, they call it a slingshot, but it looks like a crossbow, has a little sticky grappling hook thing on it, and we get the obligatory "it breaks the wall and that's bad" joke. The pair take Boo's flying machine over to the race, and we get another shot of the mountains and city and a huge exposition dump that I did not pay very much attention to, but as far as I can figure out, the whole world is powered by this little ball thingy and it keeps them safe or whatever. The race is going to start soon, and the very unsettling mayor talks about the rules or whatever, and the prize for winning the race is a kiss from the princess, the mayor's daughter, because, as we all know, women are prizes to be won, am I right, gamers? Speaking of women, which is a weird segue I never thought I'd have to say, every one of them is horny over Zino, which, yes, fair enough, I can relate, except for the princess, who is not allowed to race, because she is a woman, apparently. I don't know why this world is set up like this. She decides to disguise herself and race anyways, and the race begins. During the race, we are finally introduced to our titular Snurks, who want to win the race in their Mad Max-style car. The lead Snurk is named Galger, and I don't know what the other two are named. They only say the word Galger a lot, and that's the only reason I know it. So, instead, we're gonna call them Dum Dum and E-Boy. Obviously, they're gonna cheat to win, because they're tired of seeing Zino win all the time, and the race finally begins, and it starts by lighting a fuse with the sun, which is a stupid way of lighting a fuse. What if it's cloudy? You can't start then. Then they're off, but Zino delays, and he starts singing the dumb song he sings on and off throughout the whole movie, and
I'm the pirate of love, Lucille, and you don't know how you make me feel.
A cord gets stuck in the fan thing, which Boo tries to remove and instead gets dragged along when Zino starts, leading to comedy. This whole race is basically just pod racing, but worse somehow. Eventually, after some slapstick and the Snurks removing some of the competition, Zino stops for a frog and finally lets Boo into the car instead of dragging him along, which really says a lot about our society. We then cut back to E-Boy, who's laying down spikes, which the princess runs into, and it's revealed to us that he's in love with the princess. Meanwhile, the Snurks are with Boo and Zino, and they give him a bomb cake. It's a cake bomb! We're only like 20 minutes into this movie, and I already want to stop making this video. Boo and Zino just kind of rammed the bomb into their gas instead of just throwing it off the cliff, which somehow, instead of exploding their car and mercifully killing us both and sparing us from having to watch this movie, it just gives them a speed boost like the mushrooms in Mario Kart, causing the Snurks to crash and Boo and Zino to win the race. We then cut back to the real world, where an evil scientist declares he wants to steal the glowy ball thing that powers their world. He calls up Patrick Stewart's character, who's writing about Boo and Zino, and announces to him that he's going to destroy Gaia or whatever. The scientist activates some machine, which makes a big whirly cloud portal thingy that sucks up the glowy ball. The Snurks, wanting to get it back to act as heroes, jump in, as well as Boo, Zino, and the princess, and they all get sucked through the time vortex from Doctor Who, and they get stuck in different places around the city, as the scientist tells us. Boo and Zino show up in a street where they fight a homeless guy, and the Snurks wind up in the child's bedroom from the opening narration, except this time, God forces me to see the child's face, and he looks like a more grown-up version of the baby from that one Pixar short. The scientist eventually finds Boo and Zino, and the child tries to beat the Snurks to death until they escape when the child's prostitute mom shows up and yells at them. The scientist goes after Boo and Zino, but he brought the shittiest net ever, and they're able to escape to a demolition zone, where they yell at each other for a bit, and since they attended the Prometheus school of running away from things, they get crushed by a wrecking ball and the movie ends, sparing us from the rest of it. God, I wish the movie actually ended here, but instead they get onto some balloons, say a shitty joke, and who cares anymore? Let's just go see what the princess is doing. The princess has found herself in a toy shop where she's dressing up or something until she gets bored of that and jumps off the building into the sewer. The Snurks, on the other hand, are hungry and looking for food and decide to go into a truck shop where the owners are the most horrific white trash human beings I have ever seen. Who approved this? Was it you? I bet it was you. White trash is playing the news on the TV behind the bar, and the reporters say that they've been spotted, and then they tell a really weird joke.
Hey Chad, maybe they've been kidnapped.
Nice one, Valerie.
That's not a joke, that's not funny. What does that even mean? Anyways, white trash poisons them, and she insinuates that she just murders people that sometimes go into her bar. Apparently she wants to sell them because their truck stop is not doing so well. Gee, I wonder why that could be. Up in the air, still on their balloons, Boo and Zino hear the princess yelling and almost die, landing to help her. Boo stays on the surface because he's a coward, and Zino tries to jump into the sewers, but instead winds up in Rapture from BioShock. The princess eventually shows up, and they run away from rats together. Somehow they escape the rats until they don't, and then they have to fight again, which is when Boo throws Zino a gun he just made, and Bino just starts beating the rats to death with it. They keep fighting for a bit, and the princess does this really weird and awkward thing that reminds me of that Matrix joke from Shrek, and then they jump into a convenient boat and go down the tube. Along the boat ride, Zino makes some really weirdly misogynistic comments, and they run into the inevitable waterfall where the crocodile is waiting for them at the bottom. They use the dumb crossbow slingshot grappling hook thingy to escape, where they find the Snurks. Oh boy. They discuss for a little while about whether or not to save the Snurks, and during this argument, someone gets called a Neanderthal. I don't remember who says it or to who, but that joke doesn't make any sense, because it insinuates that Gaians also have Neanderthals along their evolutionary tree, which is not how evolution works. Think your dumb jokes out, Snurks. I'm calling you out for not thinking this one single throwaway line out. They eventually decide to break the Snurks out and get in through the bathroom window. They complain about the smell of the bathroom, despite literally just being in a sewer, which is really weird to me. Anyways, white trash are gonna dissect Dum Dum because they say it's just like the frogs they used to dissect in high school, which is hilarious because there's no way these people graduated high school. While they're arguing over who has to do it, they free the Snurks and decide to beat the ever-living shit out of white trash. They killed them. These people are dead. Not a huge loss to society. Anyways, we get the obligatory argument over who's in charge between Galger and Zino, and E-Boy simps for the princess to try and get her in charge, but eventually Boo wins the argument, and then they break into an electronics store without setting off all the alarms somehow. They decide to just watch some TV because they think they can use them to teleport back, and eventually realize they can't. But then they do hear about the creator and hear about his address from the news report, where they gave the shittiest interview ever.
Now, Mr. Drollinger, can you tell us anything about this bizarre turn of event?
Well, I got this crank call today warning me that...
And what did they say?
He asked me if Guy exists.
And what did you say?
Oh, what would you say if...
Thank you, Albert Drollinger.
So, the gang decide to go to the creator's place, and to get there they take a taxi where they destroy this man's entire existential view.
That'll be, Whoa, I gotta stop working triple shifts.
Eventually, they break into his house and find some weird paintings of themselves, and the princess does a broken Fortnite dance. The creator eventually walks in, has a stroke, and wakes up being tied up. After some questioning, he obviously doesn't know why they're there and explains to them that they're fictional and gives a speech about free will or something. The scientist eventually comes in and he takes the energy ball from the Snurks and just tases everybody. And then he does this really weird, creepy snake thing that makes me very uncomfortable. I do not like that. Please don't make me look at this anymore. The scientist takes everyone prisoner except Boo and Zino, who escape and have the inevitable argument about giving up, which they obviously decide not to. And then they fly a replica of Boo's plane from before to the scientist's lab, which looks like something out of 9. They get struck by lightning and crash, and for some reason Boo blames Zino for God smiting them. They argue about cowardice or whatever again and decide to go help the others finally. It is here where we finally learn who the scientist is and what his plan is. Apparently the scientist was essentially Discount Bill Nye, whose show was cancelled because Gaia became more popular and replaced his show, and his master plan is to teleport lava from a documentary into viewers' homes through their TV using the portal thing he used to get the energy ball, which he needs to power the machine enough to be able to teleport into that many homes. There is so much wrong with that plan, I don't even know where to start. Maybe they stop watching your show because you do that creepy ass snake shit. I don't like this. Stop doing this. Also, if you guys realize I talk and run on sentences a lot, I'm out of breath after doing that long ass sentence. I should really rethink my writing strategies. To demonstrate his power, the scientist decides to teleport a Gundam into his lab as Boo and Zino free the others and grab the energy ball. This pisses off the scientist, so he jumps into his mech and eats Dum Dum with it. And he turns his attention to the princess, and tries to kill him with the slowest missile of all time. But, oh boy, she gets saved by E-Boy, because... physics, I don't know what he's doing here. Galger eventually gets the ball through the little game of catch they've been playing, and he decides that he wants to give the ball up to the scientist in exchange for being teleported into any world he wants. But surprise, it's a trap, and the scientist slowly falls down to the bottom and breaks the mech. Another surprise, Dum Dum unfortunately didn't die because he was dicking around with the wires. See, there it is again, another run-on sentence. The scientist eventually wakes up after a speech about friendship or something, and then he gets the ball, and he traps everyone except Boo in a force field thing, and repowers the machine and starts to teleport lava into people's house, but, surprise, popcorn comes out instead. What a shock. Turns out Boo is messing with the controls and switched the channel to a commercial. The longest commercial ever. Seriously, this goes on for like 10 minutes. So the scientist just grabs a gun and tries to kill Boo with it, but because he takes forever, Boo runs around and slowly puts glass up so it'll deflect his laser back at him. Which happens, and he sends the scientist into Lava World, where he dies a horrible death much like Anakin, except he doesn't get to come back as Darth Vader, and none of the Gaians are as hot as Obi-Wan. Boo frees everyone, and they ready the machine so they can all go home. And Boo announces he wants to stay in the horrible real world with the creator, instead of cool fantasy Gaia. While everyone is being sent back, Zino tries to use the dumb slingshot thing to get the ball, but of course he misses and forces Boo to grab the ball and also get sucked in, forcing him to go to Gaia with him, trapping him forever in Fantasyland. Except not fun Fantasyland. And so they've done it. They finally made it back, and the mayor does this dumbass run to go hug his daughter and force her to kiss Zino for saving the ball. Because again, women are prizes, am I right, fellas? However, the princess understandably doesn't want to kiss him, and instead wants to kiss E-Boy, because of course she does. And for some weird reason, they do this weird race thing where they try to arrest them all because she likes a Snurk, and it's just strange. But eventually, through the power of friendship, they defeat racism and everyone lives forever. Also, apparently they have free will now. That's just kind of mentioned and not explained. Finally, it's all over. We've reached the credits. And however, because this movie hates me, the credits are this strange music video like a bootleg DreamWorks movie where Zino sings the dumb song he sung on and off throughout the whole movie. It's truly awful. I hate it.
Everybody said that a guy like me would never get a girl like you for love or money. You're sort of an uptown kind with a downtown.
Come on. Come on, baby. I just want out.
And of course, there's also a post-credit scene where Gallagher calls the creator about what he should write about next. Not only does that not make any sense because it's nonsensical that a cell service should reach through an alternate dimension, and also how did Gallagher get a phone? Yeah, that's right, I'm trying to rationalize Snurks. Shut up, I do what I want. But this is hilarious because the movie thought it could get a sequel. That's adorable. It's like a regular good old Green Lantern, and I hope it never comes to fruition. No, bad director. Don't say that. And so, that's it. I'm finally through with the Snurks. The mission. The nightmares. They're finally over. I can let this monster from my childhood rest, and no one has to watch it or ever think of it again. And I am finally happy.
Can't hurt us anymore.
I think I'm gonna go try and find that cult in Idaho and join it now. You should too. I am very tired now, and I want to stop making this video so I can go do anything else. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you less PTSD than it gave me, so please like and subscribe. I'm getting very desperate for internet validation. I'm so alone, please help me. I'm gonna go now because I don't know how to end videos. Bye.